Spalding County doesn't have the tornado sirens, but I did have a very close friend of mine, Chris Permore. He called me on my cell phone right before it hit, and he said, "You need to get in your closet now, it's coming your way."
When he called, it was 2 streets over, and I guess the tornado was heading about 50-60 miles an hour.
10 seconds?
Yeah,
wow.
That quick.
He told me that while on the phone, I told him to call me back in 10 minutes to make sure that we were okay, and I guess I went, "Oh God, oh God, oh God," and then he told me that I told him we just got hit. I don't remember.
Yeah, if it wasn't for that, I'd probably been still sitting on the couch right there, because I mean there was no warning whatsoever, and God forbid something worse would have happened. You hear warnings and watches, weather warnings all the time, and you don't think nothing ever happens. And, it's kind of the same way. You hear the tornado warning coming, But up until it happened, I was still like, maybe we're going to get missed, and all of a sudden, just like that, and it lasted about 5 or 10 seconds. Where were we at when it happened? Where did we go?
In the closet.
In the closet, yeah.
Where were the dogs?
In the bathroom.
Yeah. Were you scared? You weren't scared?
Were you scared of the thunder?
No.
You weren't?
Were you scared of the lightning?
No.
Okay, well good. You kept Mommy and Daddy safe, didn't you?
Yeah. Did the house shake?
Yeah.
I think it did, and our windows shook, and
our ears popped.
Yep, the pressure from the wind made our ears pop, and.
But yeah, we got lucky.
We kind of felt like the house was going to float up into the air, didn't we? We have 200 plus trees down, and we were quoted about $24,000 to clean it all up, because insurance will pay for the about 8 trees that hit structures on our property, and that's it. We've had two men up on top of our roof that have, on different days, described to us what it looks like from on top of the roof, and they said that there is he asked me, he said, "Ma'am, do you go to church?" And I said, "Yes, sir, we do. We go to First Baptist of Griffin." And he said, "Well, there's definitely somebody up in heaven that's looking out for you." Another day, there was a man up on top of the roof looking at our damage, and he said, "It looks like God placed a dome over our house because all the trees fell with our house parallel instead of horizontally. And had any of them fallen a different direction just by a couple inches, we would have been gone." So luckily, we've had churches that have come out and donated their time. We've had family, we've had friends, teacher friends of mine from Griffin Spalding schools, and it's been humbling to see the community come together, and we feel very grateful, very blessed just to be here to tell you this story.
I was kind of half out, I guess. I could hear what was going on, but I guess I was kind of in and out. And then it was raining real hard. I remember that, and then it got like a weird silence, like something that you could, because the power was off, so you could hear everything going on. So when it got silent, it was like a different type of silence. And then you could hear that sound, that different roar, like the train, like they always talk about, something. And she yelled to me, "Go get the boys."
I was asleep, he said. I don't really remember much from like waking up. Like I thought he had just yelled for me, but he told me to come in there and woke me up and got me out of there. And I remember running down and seeing him getting my brother out of his room and just going down the stairs and hopping in the hallway closet. That's all I really remember that night, during the tornado. Earlier that night, he came up there and gave me a flashlight because our power then went out, and he just was like, "Here, just take this, you know, in case you got to get up and go anywhere, in case we got to go get in the closet or anything like that, or go tell him what's coming through here." And like about 30, 45 minutes later is when it's like he said, the silence, and next thing you know, it just sounds like the heaviest wind you've ever heard hit the side of your house.
I kind of got him coming out of the bed, and once I saw that he was coming, I kind of turned, and he kind of followed me out of the room, and I ran to get his brother out of the other room. And by the time we got his brother, he was now in front of us, and the three of us went down the stairs to the closet below the stairs. And as we were closing the door to get us all in there, that's when we could hear the impact hitting the house.
Whenever you heard it coming, you heard just wind, and then all of a sudden it got quiet. And then once we got in the closet, it sounded like a train circling your house with the whistle and everything, and just could hear stuff crashing in our room. Was the first thing we heard, or at least I heard, was just stuff crashing in my room. I just was thinking, wow, could have been up there. So. You heard stuff crashing everywhere. You didn't know what to think at first, and then our back doors flew open, and you just saw rain and lightning and everything, and stuff falling all back here. And next thing you know, it just seemed like it happened so fast, like you didn't have time to think.
It actually blew the door off the door jam. Stuff, the door jams away from the wall inside of it, going to his room, and the windows were laying right there at the doorway. When you walk into his room, it had kind of blown it to there.
No frames.
The window frames and glass, and then it made like a right turn right out the bathroom. The first dormer up there was the bathroom, and you could see where everything kind of made a pattern where it got sucked back out that way. It kind of went in and out.
We found clothes of mine all around in other people's yards and stuff like that, and my bed sheets are wrapped up in my window frames, and like where the glass was cutting through it and everything. You can actually look up through there and see the path where it took down all the trees, all the way coming up to our house, and we got lucky because it just kind of went through our backyard and hit my corner of the house and went through our backyard, took everything out in our backyard, took out our pool fence and our barn and everything like that, took out our back porch. And just kind of scraped the top of our house more so, and messed up maybe just my room and our bonus room on the other side, and then it's almost like it just touched the ground and just demolished everything else it could.
It's hard for me to complain about any of my damage when I look at my neighbor's house, because I don't have damage when I look at their house. I really don't. Like I say, everybody's alive, so that's a good thing. But you can see where it snapped the fence off at the bottom, and it actually pulled this post out of the ground with the concrete, and we'll see it in the pool up here. You look in the pool, see the pool furniture, and that fence section right there has actually got concrete attached to the post down there at the bottom. You can't really make it out with the glare.
That's a big old concrete slab, like a table right there. You see that right there? It came off the top of it. There's no telling how much it weighs, and it just picked it up and flopped it in our pool.
It takes about 2 or 3 men to pick that thing up. It's really
solid. It took 4 with us. It's crazy. And then right there, the pile on the other, right there, pretty much where the bin is where our barn used to be. And it's kind of all piled up right there and down there now, where we had to move it. We got everybody over here to help move it. If you look all the way down there, you see all that, where there's a cage right there, but the rest of it where it used to be, that's our old cage where our dog was in.
Yeah, we went and bought a new kennel to replace it, because, you know, since the storm and everything, but that's where the kennel was before, but now it's down there tangled up with the boat and just a regular trailer. So evidently the storm tore it that way. We found the dog, well, the neighbors found the dog, what, about a couple hours after the storm, running around in the yard. We still have not found his actual dog house.
We just
found the pen, and I don't know if his dog house is back in that woods or just wherever.
You can't even walk through our woods. We tried going there the other day, and I kept falling on stuff. I scraped my shin up, and it's just almost like climbing. Like you can't walk on the actual ground. It's just you got to climb over limbs and trees and everything. Here's the dog pen. It's all tangled. It's just... like if you would have got trapped inside that, there's no way we'd ever got them out. Only person that was hurt, I don't know if y'all saw on the news, was the girl that got thrown out on her lawn. That's their house. There was just, the walls went out, and she kind of just went out and laid out on the walls with them on her mattress. Luckily, she just had a little concussion maybe. She's just taking pain medicine right now, but they got everybody over here, and the worst damage besides that to everybody was just people stepping on nails trying to find stuff that night and the next day. So.
Kind of chaotic, just trying to walk around and figure what was going on.
I mean, over at their house, there's boards. It's just their walls and their ceiling and roof are just everywhere out on the lawn. So you just step on nails just trying to walk around. Our barn was actually right there where there's kind of open space right there now. It's grass. That's where our barn was whenever we came out the next day to clean everything up. And we had to go through it and find all of our stuff. All my baby stuff was in it, and my mom's, when she was little, and my little brothers and everything like that was just strode out amongst their yard. We found our tables and chairs that were in our barn up in the front yard of their house, and there's a whole bunch of boxes up there beside the bin that we were just able to recover. A lot of it got broken, but it's amazing how lucky we were to be able to like save everything that we had. We got our electricity back already through the house. The power people, in my opinion, are the real heroes of all this. As fast as they've hit up every place and got electricity back, and it's just amazing how much you realize how people care through all this, with all the water and supplies people have dropped off, and how they've helped us cut up everything. Like, you see it looks bad now. If you would have saw it before, it was unreal.
I think everybody's still a little bit of shock. I mean, I know I am still trying to take in what has happened, because I mean, this is something I've never gone through. So I think everybody's still trying to, wake up. I've done it twice now. First thing I do is look out the window just to see if it was a bad dream or if it's real or not. Like I said, we're just the fortunate ones that our house is still up. We hadn't heard from anybody about it. They're going to have to just destroy the whole thing or just rebuild a little bit of it because of my room and everything. But besides that, we're fortunate that we can still take everything, salvage everything from our house, and maybe just go from there. So we're the lucky ones, I guess, and we're blessed for that.
I got a call from my son, Charlie, and he said, "Mom, you've got 5 minutes to get into the crawl space." I went, no, the storm's going to pass. It'll be fine. And bye. And he said, "You don't understand. It's going to hit Sunnyside. Go turn on TV." And so I did, and I just, for like probably 60 seconds, I heard it that was headed for Sunnyside, and then the power went out. So I went upstairs and hollered to my husband, Jim, come downstairs. And my dog, I have 2 dogs, and Sweetie was just shaking, And we got to the bottom of the stairs, which is right here. We have a split level, and the storm, it was like a freight train. Literally, maybe 2 trains colliding. And I just prayed the whole time, Lord, don't let the trees hit the house. It's a miracle. It's absolutely a miracle that we were not hurt and the house was not touched. And when you notice back here, the limbs, there were like 3 limbs the size of trees that were over the roof, and the storm twisted them and put them down on the ground right here. My neighbor's tree hit my car and totaled it, and it didn't touch the truck. Those branches were all twisted and right down. Wow. You can see where the entire sweet gum tree went over. Here's my swing for the grandkids. It was just pulled out of the ground and went over there. And this was like in 5 minutes, all this destruction. And come walk down here, be careful of the boards with nails and everything. And Whew, this is unbelievable. This was a lean-to shed, and it just went over. And this tree missed the boat, but one of the branches broke the windshield. And as you see, it destroyed the rabbit. My son had fixed the rabbit pen. I only lost one rabbit. I raised rabbits. And it completely took the roof off the rabbit pen. It's somewhere. And if you just, all this, the trees are just everywhere.
I am down on my knees. I'm down on my knees.
About midnight Wednesday night, we'd been watching TV all night, and that's when they put on TV that it was going to hit Sunnyside, Henry County, and McDonough. And me and my husband was up, and my husband had stepped outside to see if the wind was blowing, and about that time the door shut. He was knocking on the door, and I had to let him back in. And by the time he got back in, we got in the middle of the house, and that's when it hit us. The trees started falling, and the wind was blowing.
The wind started picking up a little bit, but right in front of the house, it seemed like just lined up all the way up to the top, where the limbs just came up and all the way up to the top of the house. It's like the good Lord just lined it up for us.
To protect us.
Yeah, to protect us. Because when it hit, I got my wife and went in the hallway, and I just prayed that the Lord just put a shield around the house. About 30 seconds after that, then I heard the whistling sound of a tornado. They just come over.
We was real lucky we didn't get hurt bad, because all these trees down was all around us, and mostly them two big oak trees there sheltered our house, in front. The limbs and all fell on front of the house. I guess it knocked some of the wind off of us. Our Congregational Holiness down the road from here came and bought sandwiches and drinks. Chick-fil-A and Taco Bell had sent food down this road for people. So people have been real good about bringing water and ice and something to eat.
We were sitting and watching the news and watching the other storms moving and watching the radar, just seeing how close it was getting to us. And it was a little before midnight, and sitting there watching it, and it looked like it was just going to miss, Griffin area. And it started getting a little red down coming from up from LaGrange, and I was thinking, well, is it going to go up past us or come out around us? And then the power went off. So of course, then we couldn't see nothing. We were lighting candles and the lantern and stuff. And about maybe 10 or 15 minutes passed, and then all of a sudden lightning started flashing, and it was almost like a strobe light. It was just constantly going all around outside, and my daughter was filming it with the camera.
Oh, wow.
And then all of a sudden, there was a little wind started blowing. It wasn't like a rough wind or anything, just wind blowing some. And then my dogs usually, when there's storms, they get real fanatic. They run back and forth and won't let you hold them or do anything. They just laid down and got really still and quiet. And to me, I thought that was unusual, And then all of a sudden, it started raining really, really heavy. And the wind picked up a little bit, and then the lightning and the thunder was just continuously. And it seemed like it lasted maybe 5-10 minutes, probably not that long, but then all of a sudden the rain kind of ceased a little bit, and then the lightning wasn't quite as much, and then it just sort of got quiet. The dogs weren't barking, and there was nothing moving, and you could just like feel something. I mean, I did. About that time, I opened my front door to look out over the tree line there, where it came in at, over that way, and I'm close to the tree line, and there was a few flashes of lightning, and I saw dark clouds, you know, just kind of coming over the tree line, and all of a sudden I heard something just making a kind of sound, and I suppose that's when it was hitting the trees. But I slammed my door and went running into the hallway, and then my husband, he came out, and I said, what do we do? And he said, let's get in the bathroom. And no sooner we got in there and closed the door, the sound was just loud, just humongous, that swishing sound, and you could feel the trailer vibrating and hearing all the debris blowing outside, and in 30 seconds it was done. Get up and walk out the door and see everything. It was just unbelievable, you know, and the rain was still just pouring down, and we got word that one of our tenants that lives in one of our trailers that got missed, that was sitting between two that got hit, he came running over and told us that our tenants in trailer 83 and 84, they were totally demolished and they were trapped inside. And so I have some tenants across the street. I just thank God for our lives. We had tenants across the street that came out when my other tenants started pulling them out of the rubble so we could get over here. And we spent all night long, the rest of the night, all day, the next day, into 9 o'clock Thursday night before we actually stopped pulling out stuff and trying to salvage what we could in the rain and then in the heat. I have 2 that are completely destroyed, 4 that are major damage. It's got a lot of work to be done to. Actually, the one I'm living in, but that's okay. My main concern is getting all the debris up and getting my tenants, you know, in another place so they can be safe out of the heat and have, you know, we still don't have electricity for my tenants on this end, but God's going to provide for that, and that's being worked on. And, you know, that was my main concern, just make sure that my tenants were okay. And, you know, my property where I'm staying it'll be okay, and we can manage with the candles and everything for another week if we have to. God started sending all these wonderful volunteers in here, bringing in food and water and clothing and medical supplies, anything that we needed, you know. And it was a experience like I've never been through in my whole life. But the most thing is I am grateful to God that He spared all our lives. I'm very thankful for that, but it was an experience I've never had before, and I hope I never go through again.